You know, Patriot Mobile stands for faith, family, and freedom. But did you know they have cutting-edge technology as well? Switching is easy. No store visits, no hassle. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% US-based service team can activate you in minutes. Enjoy exceptional coverage with access to all 3 major US networks, even add a backup line to your phone. Get unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Kirk25 or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Kirk25 for a free month of service. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Complicated business. So we're going to have a fun members conversation here. I have not stopped. Since when, Mikey? 7:30, right? I don't think I ate anything all day. So I'm going to do some active listening. This is one of the most important topics close to my heart. What is your last name?
Aydemir.
Aydemir. Ridvan Aydemir,
Yeah.
who is a former Muslim. He runs a channel called the Apostate Prophet, and you are very outspoken about Islam.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you.
And why don't you take a moment, just introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. Thank you so much. So I'm Ridvan Aydemir, Apostate Prophet. That's the channel that I started. I'm a former Muslim, was born in Germany, of Turkish, very religious Muslim parents. Now live here in America. Was an atheist for like 10 years or so, and have recently become a Christian. So.
Praise the Lord. So, there's so many directions to go here. Why did you leave Islam?
That's a very long story.
I've had a long day, so take as much time as you'd like.
So, where should I start? I mean, as said, so I was part of a family that was always very religious. That was Sunni Muslim, a very popular form of Islam. They raised me under semi-strict circumstances, which are very weird from an American perspective, such as at home we weren't allowed to listen to music, for example. Can you imagine that? We were raised with the idea, this is the funny thing, I have to bring up this aspect actually before going into it to give you a better understanding. I was a child of immigrants from Turkey to Germany. So we lived in Germany, a Christian nation, or you could call some aspects of it post-Christian,
Yeah,
but
it's
pretty much
more secular.
Yeah, but still pretty Christian.
Sure.
I mean, I was raised under Christian circumstances at school while being having Islam, completely built into my mind at home.
So you were raised by Muslims?
Yes. And while I am there in that Christian country, I would go to school as a little child and encounter all these wonderful, nice, beautiful people and admire the German culture, admire the Western culture, admire Christianity. But at home, from my own family and their surroundings, I would learn from a very young age that you cannot trust non-Muslims. You cannot trust Christians. You cannot trust Jews is a whole different topic.
It's more than not trusting Jews.
Yes. To give you a very simple example, I think I was in first or second grade. It's very, very difficult to remember nowadays, but there was a weekend where my family took me and my siblings to a religious gathering that they would usually go to. And during that religious gathering, I heard that that in the possible near future, we Muslims will fight the Jews and we will kill them, and even the rocks and trees will say to us, "Oh Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him," except for one tree called the Kargat tree, which is a tree of the Jews. So this is what I heard. I also heard then that the Christians would also be among our enemies, but with them it would be a little bit more complicated because Jesus...
I know it's like the third holiest or second holiest, right?
Yeah. And
there is an eschatological belief in Islam that Jesus comes in the end times. Is that right? Yeah.
Exactly.
I wanted to get into that.
But it's a very corrupt form of...
But Islam does have a reverence for Jesus.
Well...
They don't believe he was God, but they believe he was the Messiah. Is that correct?
Yes, but they also don't really know what the Messiah is. So what they do believe is that Jesus, who is in Islam called Isa, with a kind of corruption of his name, was actually just a prophet of Allah. And he came here...
He was Muslim.
Yeah, he was a Muslim, and he came here to deliver the Muslim message and to ask people to submit to Islam. That's all he was. He was also the Messiah.
Yeah, that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, it is. obviously. And I mean, if you go with the Christian narrative, right? If you accept that Jesus came and he was actually truthful, you can't have another message after him.
Correct.
You can't have another religion after him. And Islam comes and acts as if Jesus was simply a messenger, but his entire message was all corrupted by his followers, the Christians, who became hypocrites and evil, and the actual true message is that of Islam. And according to Islam, Jesus will come back, and what he will do, according to Muhammad, is he will come back and he will break the cross and kill the pigs, and then will reign as a Muslim ruler over the people. According to some interpretations, that is meant to be, so when he breaks the cross and kills the pigs and abolishes a protection money imposed on non-Muslims, it means that he will come to the Christians and tell them what the real religion actually is, which is Islam.
Isn't that zakat, the tax or something, right?
Yeah, it's the jizya.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
It has a very questionable name, but it
I was
just
going to
means...
say.
But
So I have so many questions here. So you leave Islam
yeah.
because it was just didn't ring to me true.
So I became very religious at some point in my life when I was a late teenager. Became very dedicated and started reading the Quran. When I read the Quran, the problem started arising because, believe it or not, Muslims will tell you that it is the best book ever written and that nobody can write a better book than the Quran. But if you read it, my friend David Wood, with whom I stream a lot, thank you. People love David Wood. You should have him too.
I will.
You should invite him at some point. But he's fantastic. He likes to quote somebody who says that reading the Quran is like penance. You know?
I don't feel that way with the Bible, though.
No.
So let's just start. I want to get to why you left Islam, but so the Quran is separated in surahs, is that right?
Yeah.
Surahs,
Yeah,
and they're
chapters. Yeah.
But it's not chronological. It's the longest first. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it kind of jumps. Is there 64 of them? Is that right? Or
There are actually 114.
oh wow, I'm way
surahs.
off. Okay, and so the part of it is normative Christian theology, but it's all counterfeit. Is that right?
You are partly right there. It has some Christian aspects, but it is also so it very much started out as a pagan religion in Arabia that attempted to turn it into a monotheistic religion because Muhammad really was impressed by the Jews and Christians that he encountered.
So was what is considered Islam predate Muhammad, and he just adopted it as a warlord?
According to some theories, yes. According to the official narrative and the Islamic narrative, which I think is quite plausible, he's the one who comes up with it. He comes from a family of polytheistic Arab pagans, but he starts going against their traditions and saying that there is only one God named Allah. So he starts this whole new religion and starts attacking the polytheists and their idols and all that.
So, fast forwarding back to you, we're going to jump all over the place. You leave Islam.
Just like the Quran.
Exactly, that's all over the place. The Quran is like, I'm reading this thing. I'm like, by the way, don't read it unless you're ready to be super confused. I think it's kind of dark. I mean, I could use the word demonic.
It's very stupid. So.
Yeah, it's stupid. Thank you. So you leave Islam, you're an atheist. What brought you to Jesus?
It was a very long process, but for most of the time as an atheist, I was convinced that there is no God because I couldn't prove it. But I always had respect for religion. I had respect for Christianity. I always made that very clear. The thing is, over the many years after I left Islam, I tried to keep up this whole narrative, this whole charade, to be very honest now, that after leaving Islam and thinking for myself and being independent and not believing in fairy tales, that I'm a very happy person now. The thing is, for all those 10 years, I wasn't happy. I was really struggling inside. It was really bad. And one of the big issues that I've always had was that humans seek purpose in this world. We seek a purpose in life. We do everything for a purpose. I had accepted at a certain point that there seems to be no inherent purpose or meaning to life.
So nihilistic.
At all, yeah. And I thought, okay, I can make peace with that idea, but I never did, because it's incredibly.
Well, because it's
Dark.
actually a contradiction.
Yeah.
Because finding peace and no meaning in itself is a contradiction.
Yeah.
Because that would be meaning and finding no meaning.
Exactly.
So
And-
it's a self-defeating statement, because it's like, oh, I'm going to find meaning and not having meaning. Well, then you just found meaning.
yeah.
So
one method. of-
definitionally, you can't escape it.
Exactly. One way to go against that is to simply embrace the absurdity of it all, which I was trying to do, and to simply live with it. But it's very difficult. It is extremely difficult. And it was actually until I looked further into the evidence for Christianity that I was quite surprised. Because as an atheist, I often heard, and I was also under the impression, that Christianity simply relies on different accounts by people who didn't witness anything, who lived long after Jesus,
It's not true.
and who just wrote things down about him without knowing it from hearsay. It's very funny, because only when I was slowly approaching Christianity did I find out that this is complete nonsense. But so many people propagate this idiotic idea.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and Luke, for example, was a first-class historian.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a historian of the first order who wrote most of the New Testament. And he was paid, Theophilus paid him to go research this stuff and be like, find out who this Jesus guy is. And he wrote basically a definitive documentary. He wrote Luke and Acts. That's all written by Luke. And he basically said, oh, Theophilus means lover of God. Here's what I learned, right? And by the way, it's completely consistent with the other Gospels. And so you eventually, that led you to Jesus.
Yeah, it was also about Paul. So at that point, I was seeking religion, but I was exploring other religions. I was exploring, for example, Judaism, which I still have a lot of respect for, and try to figure out and understand and all that. But in the middle of that, at that point, I was like, I thought, okay, I like religion, but I don't want to go into the direction of Christianity. It's very funny. One day, my wife, who actually went into the direction of Christianity before me, asked me to read something in Romans. Just one little section about how Paul says, I can do nothing of my own, and
Yes.
it is all God. So I started reading that, and it kind of, originally I accepted it and decided to read part of it because I thought, okay, she's asking me, I guess I'll just do it. Then I sat down and started reading it, and I was fascinated by it. So I started reading, I read the entire thing, all of Romans. And then I started looking into how Paul came to his conclusions.
Yes.
And suddenly it turns out that everything I have been told about the witness accounts and about what Paul did and wrote is all a lie, because the historical account very clearly is that he directly met and spent so much time with the disciples of Jesus
That's
himself
exactly right.
and with the apostles. He didn't do anything on his own. He did it all together with those who were directly in the presence of Jesus, who saw all the things that Jesus did and said, who witnessed miracles. They have it confirmed to each other that hundreds of people witnessed the miracles that are recorded in this book that we now call the New Testament, in the Gospels. And just going into that, I felt a little bit betrayed, because I thought for 10 years now, I was a skeptic, and I learned that, I'm supposed to trust only first-hand evidence, absolute, empiricist and all that. And then I found out that I have been completely lied to about all the evidence when it comes to
Yes,
Christianity.
it is the most robust, historically verified faith, period.
Absolutely.
It's not even, everything else is a lie. Judaism's not a lie, it's just incomplete, okay?
Yeah.
It's just half the story. But nothing else exists like it, period, especially from a historical text standpoint. And so for you, that's so interesting. So your path to Jesus was mostly through the mind, not through the heart.
It was both, I would say. If it wasn't the heart, it wouldn't have
Been real.
Yeah. And
But your reason led you towards Christ. And that's okay, everyone has a different path.
I'm actually very happy to say that this is very funny, because as a skeptic, as an atheist, it was very important to me to always give people the impression that everything I do is based completely on reason and
Yes.
logic and evidence and all that. However, the way I felt about Christianity once I started reading also had a great impact, and I found peace. You know, I don't want to make a comparison now to Judaism, for example, but I looked into Judaism and I was very interested in it. I had lots of admiration for it, lots of love for it, but I tried the Jewish prayers, for example, and something felt incomplete for me.
Incomplete is the word.
Yeah, and this is not a diss for Judaism, but once I started reading the New Testament, and I actually did my first prayer the Christian way, it was very moving. You know, it brought something back that I felt had died within me so many decades ago, and it is still there. When I first went to church, I was quite overwhelmed, and I have been.
Are you Orthodox?
Yes,
or, yeah.
yes, Orthodox.
Eastern Orthodox. It's a beautiful faith.
Yes, yes. The divine liturgy.
It really is.
As it's called.
What I love about Orthodox, actually, I have an Orthodox priest. Is that the right term? Or
Yeah.
you know, clergy coming on my show on Tuesday, and I'm going to ask him. It's not. I mean, I'm evangelical, but I love. And correct me if I'm wrong. In Orthodox, you're very careful. You're more clear about what God is not than what God is. Is that correct?
Precisely.
It's like we're not going to, it drives me nuts when people say they over-ascribe definitions to God, and I think that's super prideful. So I think you start with what God isn't, and I think that's the baseline of Orthodox faith.
Yeah.
Is that right? It's a humble approach to the Lord.
That is Orthodox theology, basically. That also fascinated me when I found out about this. Because
me too.
For the longest time, so I heard a lot of debates and discussions about whether God exists or not, and the evidence for God, and so on. And I know that those debates have great impact on a lot of people. I myself felt usually unmoved by much of it. It didn't appeal to me. But when I started to understand Orthodox theology, for example, I realized that I really love the mystery of it. It is, so in Western theology, there is a lot of attempts to describe precisely what God is and how God is and what God does. And in Orthodoxy, it's rather,
that is correct. Yeah, it's a very Calvinist, German, lawyerly way of looking. And by the way, I think he was right about a lot. But John Calvin was like, I'm going to figure out all the attributes of God, very specific and definitionally. And he might end up being right. We might go to heaven and he might have crushed it.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is you get really wacky theology if somebody takes that premise and they have no idea what they're talking about. For example, Episcopalians are like, oh, God is a woman, right? Or God is trans. You know, so that can go a really bad place very quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like in the modern era, we've seen that what I think Calvin started in a pretty good spirit grow to something pretty dark 500 years later.
Yeah, you could argue that.
So let's get back. So you're a Christian. Let me just kind of go through a rapid fire, if that's okay.
Sure.
But let's first go through Islam 101. Is it true that they say Muhammad is the greatest man ever to live?
Yes.
Was Muhammad a warlord?
Yes.
How many people did he kill?
Personally or
approximation?
Lots.
Thousands?
Yeah.
How many was he responsible for? Tens of thousands of deaths?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it true that he married a 9-year-old named Aisha?
No, he actually married a 6-year-old.
Oh, I'm
Aisha.
sorry. Okay.
And
So 6-year-old.
Yes.
So we got to make sure we're very clear here. That there's no misinformation. So that would be pedophile.
Yeah. I actually, if I can pause there for a second.
No, please. And if I'm wrong, correct me. I'm not here to. I want the truth. I want our audience to have the truth.
No, I want to. I like to, as disgusting as it is, I would like to pause there for a second, because when we talk about a 6-year-old being married, first off, it's not simply marrying a 6-year-old. It is the Prophet Muhammad, the most perfect figure for all mankind.
That's the key.
He is in his 50s, and without any necessity at all, he picks and marries a 6-year-old little girl, and then when she's 9 years old, he then consummates the marriage in his mid-50s with her. And that's his third wife, and at that point, his second living wife. So he has absolutely no need for this. He does it just because.
So let's steelman this. If a Islamic cleric was right here, How would they defend that?
They would say a few things, such as those were different times. The response to that would be, okay, but isn't Muhammad supposed to be the perfect moral example for all mankind for all times, including right now? So it doesn't matter if it was a different time. The second defense would be that she transmitted a lot of accounts of things that he did and did not do. So it was actually a very good thing for him to marry her and be so intimate with her. But seriously? We are supposed to argue that this was the great divine plan.
Oh, so his legacy lived on, so that's why he
Yes,
raped
yes,
a 9-year-old.
yes,
Got it.
yes.
What else would they say?
Some would say this is okay and there is nothing wrong with it because as soon as a girl shows signs of development, she is ready to breed.
Okay, do any of them say it's factually incorrect?
If they're serious, traditional Muslim scholars, they will not say that. If they are kind of reformists or modernists.
What would the
and such,
reformists say? That she was allegorically 9?
They will say that stupid excuses such as that they started counting her age only after a certain time, or that there are different accounts. She might have been 10 or 8 or something else.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference.
A huge difference.
So Muhammad, the greatest man ever to live, the greatest example, was a warlord who married a 6-year-old, raped her when she was 9, and then kept multiple wives.
Yeah.
Now, to be clear, the Bible also has plenty of stories of multiple wives and bad behavior. But this is so important. There's a difference between what the Bible describes and what the Bible prescribes. Description of behavior in the Bible does not mean prescription of the Bible. For example, Solomon having many wives is not prescribed to you. It actually ended really bad for him. He ended as a madman, actually. And Ecclesiastes is like one of the saddest books ever. He's like, meaningless, meaningless. All of life is meaningless. So
I love that book, though.
Isn't it beautiful? No, meaning it's sad in the beginning, and then all of a sudden he finds that meaning is God. And there is a season for everything. There's a season for suffering. There's a season for sorrow. There's a season for happiness. The point being, though, is that people would counter just for you here. Oh, but in the Christian Bible, and the kicker, guys, we never say Solomon is the greatest man ever to live.
Precisely.
This is the whole important thing. They hold Muhammad at a higher level than Christ our Lord.
Yes.
So and would you say this is one of the strongest arguments to cross-examine Islam?
Morally, yeah.
Okay. So let's just talk more about Muhammad. So they believe he went to heaven at some point, is that right, in Jerusalem?
So,
like on a horse or something?
Yeah, it's called the night journey. So they believe that he went, one night he was woken up by
heard of it.
the angel. And
Angel Gabriel, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
by
that's
Angel
new.
Gabriel.
Glad they could have used a different name.
He was put on the back of an animal that was bigger than a donkey and smaller than a horse, is what it says. And he was then taken by that donkey to the farthest mosque, as it says. And then from there, he was taken up to heaven, where he saw all the prophets. Then later on, he was taken also to hell, where he saw all the people. By the way, what he saw in hell is very interesting. He saw that the majority of hell dwellers were women. That's what he said to women. And he told them, this is because you people, you women, are ungrateful. So you have to be more obedient to me.
Oh, what a convenient theology for like thing like Jeffrey Epstein with a standing army. That's basically Muhammad, right? So, okay, I just want to make sure. So biographically, so this guy was a warlord, Bedouin tribes, fractured. He unites these Bedouin polytheistic tribes around polytheism. Who wrote the Quran, in your opinion?
So the Islamic narrative is that the Quran is a word for word. This is also, by the way, a huge difference between the Bible and the Quran. The Quran is considered the word for word, verbatim, dictated word of Allah, the
Audible.
Creator. Yeah.
Right.
And he's supposed to have brought it through the words of Gabriel to Muhammad, who then recites it to the people around him, who then make notes of it. And after Muhammad dies, they decide to come together and turn all of this into one big book. That is the official account. And many Muslims are not even aware of this. They think Muhammad himself approved of it and oversaw the writing of it.
So, and isn't that a divide between Shia and Sunni of what Muhammad said and what he didn't say?
Yeah, in a way, yes.
So what is a hadith?
The hadith is the traditions attributed to Muhammad, things that he did and things that he said, as reported by his followers and their successors.
So Muhammad creates this religion. There are 5 pillars of Islam. Let me see if I can get them right, okay? Let me see if I can get them. Pray 5 times a day.
Yes.
Ramadan fasting.
Yes.
Hajj.
Yes.
Charity.
Yes.
And let me try to think of the last one. I'm pretty good at 4 though, right? That's not bad. What is the 5th?
The Shahada, which is the creed, where you say that.
Isn't that the prayer? Or no?
No, that's separate. So
Oh,
you have to say the Shahada to become part of the religion.
okay.
Which
So,
means, I testify there is no God but Allah, and
Got
Muhammad
it.
is the messenger
Okay.
of Allah. Yeah.
so those 5, none of those are like necessarily offensive except the Islamic one to us, so we don't have to spend too much time on that. Or is that the core of their faith, those 5 things?
You would say that those things are the ones that essentially make one a Muslim, but it doesn't stop there.
So then Muhammad dies, Islam grows
Yeah,
and grows and grows and grows.
by the sword.
By the sword. This is important. So how did it grow? Did it grow through conversion and love, or did it grow through conquest?
This is actually one of the biggest differences between Christianity and Islam, which I think is a very important point to stand on here. So Christianity, we know, starts with Christ, God taking on flesh, becoming the lowest of us, becoming part of us and inviting us to him. It starts through suffering, and his followers spread it and tell people about it. They lose their lives on this path, and over centuries it develops through simply preaching and being persecuted. Islam starts very differently. Muhammad starts out there in Mecca, then goes to Medina and starts his Islamic state, from which he then begins raiding and attacking others, and from then on his successors, once he dies, take over that exact same attitude and start spreading Islam by attacking everyone left and right. And most of the Muslim territories in today's time are a result of violent conquests.
That's right.
Because there's actually a very good quote that I love to bring up by Ibn Khaldun, who was a medieval Muslim scholar, very much respected. And he wrote in a work called Muqaddimah, he wrote that the great difference between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam is that Islam is the only religion that has a truly universal mission. And the leader of Islam, the caliph, is supposed to be the one who is both the religious leader and also the military leader and the state leader, who has the duty to spread the religion by will or by force. This is Islam, and that's how it spreads.
Does it say in the Quran that you should take multiple wives?
It says you can take multiple wives.
Okay, but not that you should, but you can.
Yeah, you can. You cannot take up to 1, 2, 3, 4, like tomatoes. Like
Got it.
Yeah.
Is it true that it talks very poorly about women?
Yes.
How so?
Well, in chapter 4 is very funny. It's called...
In the Surah 4 or whatever?
Yeah, the Surah 4 is called Women. And some
It's
Muslims
called
will
women.
some Muslims will say, look, it has a chapter called Women. It must be nice to women. Well, look into the chapter. So in verse 24 of it, it says that that Muslims may only have sex with those that they are married to and with those that they possess, which means with their sex slaves. So Islam directly allows sex slavery through war, and also tells Muslims that they are allowed to have sex with them as they wish. In verse 34, it then says that that Muslim women are to obey their husbands fully because he is superior. If she disobeys, or no, if a husband fears arrogance from a woman, he is to admonish her, separate in beds, and if that doesn't help, he may beat her. And according to Muhammad's own companions, according to Muhammad's own child bride, Aisha, she said that she didn't see any other women who were suffering as much as the Muslim women. One day a woman comes in and her skin is greener than the green clothes that she's wearing. And she comes to complain about her husband, how much he's beating her. Muhammad ends up basically justifying the beating and saying that lots of women come to complain about their husbands and they are not the best women. And this is Islam's legacy. So the Quran directly allows Muslims to beat their wives and describes them as lesser beings. And you can still see this very much unfold and manifest in Muslim societies.
Is it true it says to convert or kill?
It Yes, there is another option. So chapter 9, verse 29.
Tax, right?
Yeah. It says...
Which is that, what's the word you said?
Jizya.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says directly there that those who don't accept Islam and those who don't believe in Allah and Muhammad, you are to fight them, specifically Jews and Christians and others, until they are humiliated and pay protection money. So you are to convert them or to make them pay protection money. If they don't pay protection money, you can kill them. That's it.
What are the other objectionable teachings that you think the West should know?
Aside from...
Are they allowed to lie in the name of Islam? That's a common thing I hear. I'm sure you've heard it.
That's a very complicated topic, but you could say yes, although it is sometimes misrepresented, because there is one aspect which is called taqiyya.
Yes, that's right.
So taqiyya allows Muslims normally, if they are in certain circumstances where telling people that they are Muslims would cause trouble, they are allowed they are given the permission to lie about it. But that's not the only aspect where they are allowed to lie. So sometimes people think taqiyya means that they are all allowed to lie, but in general, without giving it a name, the Quran authorizes Muslims to simply speak half the truth, basically, in giving responses, and to always speak in whatever way Islam benefits. And Muslims are allowed by Muhammad to deceive the enemies of Islam. And enemies of Islam are all those that are not Muslims. So
Islam is rapidly taking over the West.
Yes.
Is that by accident or by design?
You could say that it is by design, but then we have to have a discussion about...
Who's the designer?
Yeah, who's the designer? What kind of designer?
Well, let me put it this way. Is the Muslim world thrilled they're taking over the West?
Yes, absolutely. When I was a child in Germany, when I was a teenager, I repeatedly heard that it's a fantastic thing that we are taking over, that our numbers are growing. And you could now say, okay, this is just something that you yourself heard, but it's not just me. Today, I still hear the same thing. In fact, this is the main reason why I decided to speak out, because after I left Islam, I had horrible deception and basically, oppression of my mind behind me. I wanted to get away from it, but I look into the world and I see people saying stuff like Islam is misunderstood. It's a religion of peace. It's not a religion of peace. It is not a religion that wants to coexist with you. We have today in the UK, in many other countries, we have Muslims preachers openly saying that the vision of Muslims should be to take over Western nations, that the numbers should be growing. There should be more politicians involved in the public in the UK, in Canada, in Australia. Gladly, we are not at that stage in America, but we have to act quickly unless we want to also get into those situations, because it is a duty of Muslims to establish Islam as a governing force wherever they are, or to leave. They don't want to leave.
Do they believe in separation of mosque and state?
No, they don't. In fact, in Islam, it is actually considered haram, forbidden, to establish laws that are separate from whatever Allah has established. So it is considered forbidden, not allowed, to have secularism.
So the growth of Islam in the West, do you think that Christians and Westerners adequately understand it?
No.
What and we're short on time, I'm sorry, I could talk for 2 hours. What keeps you up at night or worries you most about this flavor and this ascendant force of Islam?
The most important thing is the ignorance of the non-Muslims, of those that we have among us. We have lots of people speaking. We have lots of people speaking online. We have lots of people speaking about all kinds of things. I think there are some people who like us to talk about different political entities or different states, how they are trying to subvert us and so on. I think the biggest subverter of Western societies, of free nations, is Islam, and we need to be talking about it. I think the most disturbing thing about all of this is that we have Muslim communities in Michigan, in Minnesota, in Texas even now.
Yes, Epic City.
And elsewhere, that openly speak of spreading Islam and making this, and they say, of course, we don't want to offend anybody, we don't want to make it look like we are subverting people, we just want to peacefully spread it and grow and take over. But if you allow enough power to be taken by those who want to establish Islam as governing force, you will very, very quickly lose control because they will not allow you to take it back. They will want to impose it.
Do you think Islam is compatible with Western civilization?
Absolutely not.
So I said that. I don't know if you saw that. Got 75 million views on my tweet. People thought, oh, that is great. Prove my point for me.
Western civilization was formed and shaped by philosophers and by Christianity. Islam is anti-Christianity. Islam orders the subjugation and the destruction and eventual eradication and elimination of Christianity. It orders the destruction of secular societies. We have freedom in the West, something that we value so much at this conference in America.
Yes.
We have freedom. We love freedom. Islam is anti-freedom. One very little trivia about me. I have Turkish citizenship. I lived in Turkey for a while. Right now, it's very difficult for me to get back into Turkey because despite Turkey being a secular country on
And
paper,
part of NATO.
yeah, I have multiple lawsuits against me by the Turkish government because I dared to say things like, quote, the Quran is a book of ignorance. For that, they are suing me. The Turkish government, I can't go back there. There is no freedom. There is no free speech. If you give the power, you will lose everything.
And so, just really quick to capstone that, Islam being incompatible with Western civilization, but they'll say there's peaceful Muslims, and what would you say is what should the Western approach to Islam be?
First off, realize what you're dealing with. Realize that it is not simply a religion. Acknowledge that it is incompatible with your societies, and then begin to directly address it and make sure that you do not allow them to take advantage of your well-meaning attitude and your liberal policies of immigration, for example. If you see Islam spreading and political Islam spreading, remove it. Make policies about it. Get rid of it. Kick it out before it's too late. And so here's the thing. This might be a little bit controversial, but the freedoms that we have in the West, they were established. The values that we have in the West were established. Even America was founded by people who had in mind that these are values that unite us. These people that, I find it very difficult to even include myself, but I will include myself as an American today. So these are these nations are founded in order to have people like us with our values to live
Yes.
together. That's why we have freedom, because we cherish it, we value it, we can do it. They weren't meant to be offered to every single anti-freedom group that comes
That's
in
right.
and wants to abolish it and abuse it in order to oppress you.
How do you get treated by Muslims?
I usually get the death penalty in Islam.
Do you get a lot of death threats?
Yes, lots of them.
What do they say to you?
I will behead you. I will rape your family. I will.
This
rape
is the religion of peace?
Yes, it's very peaceful. Well, once they kill you, it's all peaceful, So.
Oh.
Yeah.
So to close it out, your name is Apostate Prophet.
Yes.
Do you speak Arabic?
I do not.
Turkish?
I study it. Yes.
Okay. So you know the original text well enough.
Yeah, I've studied it many years. Yeah.
So that's why you're so dangerous.
Yes.
And you have a big platform, and you know it, you know this stuff well. And they can't argue, because with me, they're like, oh, that's not what it really says, it's context dependent. And honestly, I kind of have a soft spot because there's so much biblical butchery with context stuff, so I'm like really careful with that, you know what I mean? I'm like a very big context guy, because some people say, oh, the Bible's terrible because of something in Leviticus 19. I'm like, okay, how much time do you have? But what you are saying this even with context.
Yes.
You're saying commands you to, does it command you to kill Jews?
Yeah. In the long term, yeah. It commands them to oppress Jews and that eventually Muslims will kill the Jews. You are supposed to wait for it.
How can people support you? I think you're a man of great courage. I mean, this is a big fight. You're up against the great menace, and it's growing. Islamism is growing.
It is, unfortunately. Thank you so much, first of all, for offering this.
No, I saw him. You were on some interview. Who were you on?
Matt Fred.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go on his show. You guys know Matt Fred, Pints with Aquinas?
Yeah. He's
a
awesome.
really smart
He's
guy.
Awesome.
And I listened to like 10 minutes of you on him, and I texted my team. I said, I don't know who this guy is, but he's amazing because I have really started, as you know, speaking more and more about Islam.
Thank you for doing that.
And I'm hated for 900 different things. I have real jihadis and purple-haired jihadis. I have both. They both hate me. But I said, I've been looking for you because you can educate me, and also you can kind of do some of the grunt work. I don't speak Turkish or Arabic. I don't have time to study the Quran. I don't want to study that crap. I know it enough. And so I think really sincerely, your voice is incredibly important.
I really appreciate that, and I thank you so much. And I think that this should be a beginning. We should start talking about this matter very seriously.
Yes.
And should speak up more and more from here on, because this is a very crucial topic.
We don't have time for questions, but if you're okay, would you stay around and just hang with some people?
Sure.
No.
Yes.
Well, God bless you. It's the Apostate Prophet. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.